Hello everybody, how are we? I'm Allie, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about every single book that I read in 2024. I'm not going to dilly-dally here because there are so many books that we have to get to and I don't want this to be like 57,000 hours long. Before we start, it's important to note that there's a couple of goals that I have every single year. Every single year I want to read one classic and one nonfiction, and then the rest is out of my hands and up to the universe, to be honest. And also, I feel like I had a pretty good reading year. This is the most amount of books that I've ever read in an entire year ever. So without further ado, let's flash back a year. It's great. Time freaks me out so much. Okay, January 1st, 2024. I read Carrie Soto's Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid! Insert a picture of me and Taylor Jenkins Reid here, which is crazy. I gave this 4.5 stars. I remember really liking it, except that I felt that the ending was lackluster. Next, I read The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I gave this 4 stars. It's a pretty good romance, and he gives her a piggyback ride, so 0 complaints. If you like Christina Lauren, you should read this. Next, I read The Six Deaths of the Saint. I gave this 5 stars. It's by Alex E. Harrow. It was fire, fabulous, blah, blah, blah. One of the best novellas I've ever read, ever. And I still think about it, and it's been almost a year, and it was only like 50 pages long. Next, I read Ruthless Vows, which is the second book in the Letters of Enchantment series by Rebecca Ross. I gave it 3 stars, and I remember being like, I don't care about this war plotline right now. You know, if I wanted to read a book about war, I would go pick up a book about war. I was really there for the romance and the pen pal vibes, and that just like wasn't giving in this. Next, I read A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. This is a romantasy, I believe. I gave it 3.75 stars and remember not a single solitary thing about it. A Long Time Coming by Megan Quinn. This is the 3rd book in the Kane Brothers series, and I haven't read the other 2. I simply jumped to this one, I think because I remembered hearing about the prospect that she was engaged and this caused her best friend, this guy, to suddenly realize that he's been in love with her the whole time. And I love shit like that. My review is just, this was so stupid. And I gave it 3 stars. Next, I read Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. I gave it 3 stars. I remember the guy in this book just being kind of the worst. Almost in like a John Green-esque, okay, this could have rocked in like 2013. But nowadays, I'm like, it didn't sit right with me. Next, one of my favorite books that I read this year, You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel. 5 stars, obviously. I did not think I was gonna like this, hated it at the beginning, but if you like romance at all, you have to read this, and I urge you, because I was so hesitant because it's a second chance romance, and I hate second chance romance because if it didn't work the first time, I just don't care. You know, I should have been there for the first time in order to care. It's just a whole thing. But this defied my expectations. I love them. I think about them all the time. Always on my mind. Please read it. Oh, we're taking a turn for the worst. The Summer Girl by Elle Kennedy. 1 star. The narrative about this girl's body in this book, nothing short of abominable. Anyways, I'm not gonna waste any more time on that. One Dark Window, Rachel Gillig. I gave it 4 stars, and I just don't remember it at all. I love a good plotline where someone is in someone else's head. There's that in this, so I remember really liking it. I haven't read the sequel, and also I apparently shouldn't be reading the sequel because I don't remember what happens at all. Next, another 5 star, The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. You need to read this. And the romance was just so good, and it was a love triangle where really like you don't know which side of the triangle she's leaning towards, which angle's larger. Next, Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher, 2nd book in the Dreamland Billionaires series, which Disney adult minivan romance is actually good. Yes, I fear. The plotline of this is simply so out of this world. Like, he has to marry and impregnate somebody to get his inheritance, which somebody tell me if that's like actually something that happens in the real world, because there's just so many issues that I can't even get into with that. Hopeless by Elsie Silver. I gave this 4 stars and was really excited because I really didn't like Heartless, but I really like this one better. If you've never read any cowboy romance, this could be a good first one for you. The No-Show by Beth O'Leary. This book just like makes me frustrated to no end. I don't want to talk about it. I gave it 2 stars. We're moving on. Caraval, Stephanie Garber. 5 stars. So fire, so fun. The aesthetic of this is, there's just something different about Stephanie Garber's books, and there's just nothing I can say. This is another one where it's like, even if you don't read YA, you should read this. Next, The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery. This is just a general fiction by Gabrielle Zevin. I really liked Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, so that's why I read this. And I really liked this one too. It's super short. I gave it 4 stars. It's a book about books, which usually I don't really like, but I really liked this. The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. Gave it 3 stars. It's the second book in the Truly Devious series. I really liked the first Truly Devious. Am I even speaking words? I really liked the first Truly Devious, but this one really fell flat for me. The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This was a reread. I gave it 4 stars. My qualm with this book that I actually love talking about, I feel like I should make an entire video about how third act conflicts can ruin an entire book, no matter how good the book is before, because I think this is one of the best romances of all time. They really cooked with this one, but the third act conflict is so irredeemable that it just... Anyway, but you have to read it. It's a cultural experience. Heartless, Marissa Meyer. I gave it 3.5 stars. And this was just like so depressing. I actually would recommend that you don't read this because emotionally, I just remember I finished the book and was so unfulfilled and it hurt my feelings. You with a View by Jessica Joyce. This is a romance and I really, really liked it. I gave it 4 stars and I believe this is a debut, which is crazy because the banter was like Emily Henry flirting. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Yes. R.F. Kuang, Rebecca. Oh lord, oh lord, oh lord. I would pay money to have access to this woman's notes app. Like anything she writes, anything. I give this 4.5 stars, I think. Her plot lines will just like leave you thinking with a capital T. Anyways, I think that everybody should read it. The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This was my one classic for the year, and it was 5 stars. Shocking, because the classics that I've read in the previous years, I read Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre, and genuinely feel nauseated at the thought of those. I'm so sorry if you like them, but I just... This book is so fun. Is so fun. I love Oscar. Ugh, I miss him. Do you know what I mean? Like, I miss him. If you hate classics and have never had success with them like me, I would recommend reading this. This Is How You Lose the Time War, Amal El Motar and Max Gladstone. This is a fantasy. It's super short and it's, God, what do you call that? And it's like written through letters. There's a word for what those books are called, but I gave it 4 stars. I really, really liked it. I'm not a huge fan of books written through letters. What are those called? Oh, epistolary novel. It's an epistolary novel. I'm not a huge fan of those, so that kind of like held it back for me, but beautiful. Love story, and also just like kind of devastating. The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is a reread. Oh my gosh. Get your eyeballs on this book, bro. That's all I have to say. When I think of an enemies to lovers that's like an actual enemies to lovers where they genuinely detest each other, it's this book. God, it's so important to me. 5 stars, obviously. Check and Mate by Allie Hazelwood. I gave this 3 stars. There's a lot of like discourse about this book that I'm just not going to get into. Legendary by Stephanie Garber, second book in the Caraval series. I gave this 3 stars because I felt like the twist was disappointing. I would still say finish the Caraval series because I think I liked the 3rd one better. We'll find out. Magnolia Parks: The Long Way Home by Jessa Hastings. This is the 3rd book in the Magnolia Parks universe. I gave this 4.5 stars. One thing that I will say about the Magnolia Parks books is that I, and I mean this so seriously, have to like be in a really good place mentally to be reading them because it gives me like physical anxiety. And thinking about the ending of this book just makes me want to throw up. So I'm just gonna move on. Everybody needs to read the Magnolia Parks series. It's like Gossip Girl, but London. Next, A Court of Mist and Fury. This is a reread. This was my 3rd reread, I think, by Sarah J. Maas. Arguably my favorite book of all time. I think it's the best sequel ever written, and everybody knows everything about this, so I'm just gonna move on. Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I gave this 3 stars. It was just a bit too, like, it felt arguably too mature for me. Like, I was just not the target audience of it. But yeah, I just felt like it wasn't hitting for me because of that. Next, I hate talking about this, and I have a video about this. House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas, the 3rd book in the Crescent City series. I gave it 3 stars. I should have given it like 1 because the longer that it sits in my soul, the more I absolutely detest it and feel completely betrayed by everything about it. I hate what it stands for. I feel so stupid. Anyways, I think, and I will say this full chest, no book that is about what it is about needs to be that long. Sorry, I don't want to be like that aggressive of a hater for things that people really, really like, because this book has 4.2 stars on Goodreads. So if you loved it, to each their own. I just can't relate. The Alice Paradox, oh my god, another sequel I really didn't like. 2 stars. I just hate like pretentious books. And I hope that people understand what I mean when I say that. Basically, my reading experience of this just felt like they were trying to be smarter than me, like the people in the book. And maybe they were just smarter than me, but it felt like almost insulting. I was like, please, like, I don't know. It was just giving pretentious, and stuff like that just like makes me super mad. The Pearl by John Steinbeck. This is also a reread. I gave it 4 stars. I really, really enjoy this book. John Steinbeck and his metaphors get to me in a way that I can't even put into words. And this one is also really, really short, and I think that if you find yourself never liking classics, you should read this, because it reads just like so different than what people think about when they think about classics, I feel. Next, A Court That's Cruel and Lovely by Stasia Stark. This is a fantasy romance. I gave it 3.75 stars. Don't remember a single thing about it. Don't ask. I'm just gonna move right on. Okay, The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I gave it 3.5 stars. I didn't like it as much as I liked The 7-Year Slip. Please read The 7-Year Slip. The 7-Year Slip is just like... Okay, I'm getting off track. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I gave this 4.5 stars. I still think about this book. If you are an existentialist, you need to read this. Next, A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I gave this 2 stars, and I'm not going to talk about it, but I will link below a video that I really enjoyed about this book, and that I felt like kind of put some of my thoughts into words on why I don't like this book, even though so many people find this book super important. And Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I gave this 3 stars. And when I say detest, I mean like detest urban fantasy, so that's why I didn't like this. I just can't with the wolf thing. There's a specific target audience, and it just wasn't me. If you were Team Jacob, this could work for you. Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. I think that this is actually written by James Patterson. How does stuff like that even work? I don't know. Very vanilla. I gave it 3 stars. Okay, finally wrapping up the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber, Finale. I gave this 4 stars. I liked it better than the second one, and it was cool to see how it wraps into the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is also a reread. I reread it to annotate it. Gave it 5 stars. The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. I gave it 3 stars, or 3.5. Lynn Painter's chemistry is just absolutely unmatched. If you're looking for something to read for Valentine's Day, pick up a Lynn Painter book. Next, The Fall of Ruin and Wrath by Jennifer L. Armentrout. One of my least favorite books of all time. I just can't find myself thinking of like a point to why this had to be written. Next, The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the sequel to the Inheritance games. I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it. I just didn't get a 5-star feeling. I'm just one of those people where it's like, if I don't get that X factor, I can't give it 5 stars. Next, Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. 4 stars, but I just didn't get that 5-star feeling. Okay, now we're on to my nonfiction for the year. Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I gave this 4 stars, but looking back, I would probably lower it a star. I don't know. It just like didn't resonate with me, I think, in the way I wanted it to, because I really wanted it to hit for me as a 20-year-old girl, and it just didn't. Next, Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. 1 star. It was just like really cringy. The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer. 3.5. One of the most filthy books I've read this year, which is crazy. Yeah, super average hockey romance, and if you like hockey romance, I would read this. The Locked Door by Frida McFadden. 4 stars. Pretty good, pretty run-of-the-mill. I don't know. There's just not a lot to like say for me and thriller/mystery books, because I don't read enough of them to be like, this is so much better than blah 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 blah. I only read like 5 a year, so I don't know. I had fun. It was for book club. We had fun talking about it. You should read it. Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I gave this 4 stars. I liked this a lot better than Yours Truly, and I say that the ending was just too sad for me. Yeah. Next, I read Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I gave it 3 stars. This is a super, like, whimsical fantasy. If you like stuff like Lord of the Rings, I would recommend reading this. Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. I gave 4 stars. Guilty as charged. I think this is so fire. It's a serial killer romance, which is a crazy sentence coming out of my mouth, and I loved it. This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. 3 stars. Not as good as Every Summer After. Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. Read the trigger warnings for this, because this was the, like, most upsetting sports romance I've ever read. I was not expecting that at all, but also it was really important, and I can acknowledge this, and it was a one-sitting read, and if you're looking for a hard-hitting sports romance, this. Talking about hard-hitting sports romances, Say You Swear by Brandy M. Or M. Brandy? I think it's Megan Brandy. 4 stars. Shocking. The turns that this book takes, the drama of it all is absolutely insane, and it is also hard-hitting, which you would just never guess by the cover. The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy. I gave it 3 stars. My review is simultaneously freaky and vanilla, which is exactly how I feel. The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. So average. I gave this 3 stars. Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. It was just too freaky and serious for me. Throne of Glass, Sarah J Maas. This was the 3rd time I read this, and it also caused me to bump it up to 5 stars because I just think about that universe all the time. Crown of Midnight, Sarah J Maas. This is another reread. 5 stars, same reason. Air of Fire, Sarah J Maas. Reread, 4 stars. Same reason. Reckless by Lauren Roberts, 5 stars. I just simply thought it was fire. I know that there's people that disagree, but I just think that we kept these good vibes going, and that's all that I can ask for. Queen of Shadows, Sarah J Maas, 5 stars. This might be my favorite book in the series. I really like where the romance plotline leads with this one. Swift and Saddle by Lila Sage. I gave this 2 stars, and I'm bored, you're bored, and we're all bored. Babel by R.F. Kuang. I didn't rate this because I still don't know how to feel about it. I really enjoyed it. It was just super dense for me at a time where I was reading in a reading slump, and so it did take me 2 months to finish. So I felt like by the end it just didn't hit the way that people said that it was going to, and it could be because it took me so long to read, or it could be because the magical realism of it all wasn't for me. I don't know. Do I think that you should read it? Absolutely, because R.F. Kuang is the it girl. Caught Up, Liz Tomford. This is the 3rd book in the Windy City series, and I gave it 5 stars, which is shocking. I did not give the first 2 5 stars. This one just it reminded me why I love sports romance so much. Finding 13 by Chloe Walsh. This is the first Boys of Tommen book. I gave it 2 stars. I'm sorry, but I just can't understand the Shannon the river thing. I just can't. Play Along, Windy City series 4. I gave this 4 stars. I was just bored by 65%. I will say about the Windy City series books, they are just too long. So Spark of the Everflame, Penn Cole, 4 stars, 4.5 stars. It was a slow burn that actually burned, and I appreciate it. Glow of the Everflame, the 2nd book to Spark of the Everflame, not as good. I gave it 3 stars. Could have been better if it was shorter. Blood on the Tide by Katie Robert, 3 stars. I just love a good nautical. And this is a sapphic fantasy romance, which I've never read a sapphic fantasy romance, and that was fire. It's 3 stars because I just can't take some of Katie Roberts' writing seriously. There's just I don't know. But you should read this because it was super fun, especially if you were obsessed with Captain Hook in Once Upon a Time. This is so for you. Daisy Hates the Great Undoing by Jessa Hastings, 5 stars. Gross, disgusting, hated it. 5 stars. Empire of Storms, reread, 5 stars. Sarah J Maas, blah, blah, blah. Leather and Lark, the 2nd book in the Butcher and Blackbird series, 3 stars, not as good as the first one, kind of disappointed. The first Zodiac Academy book by Caroline Peckham, 1 star, and truly horrifying. Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver, 2 stars. Everything about this was so aggressive, and I just don't like the word baby blues, or the words baby blues for eyes. That just really bother me. Daydream by Hannah Grace, 3rd book in the Maple Hill series. I don't know why I keep reading these because I never like them. I didn't like a single one of them, and I kept reading them, and yeah, they're just not for me. They are for some people, so who's to say? If you liked Icebreaker, sure, continue on, but I didn't like Icebreaker, so I don't know why I kept reading them. A Song to Drown Rivers by Anne Liang. I gave this 3 stars. I don't know how to feel about the ending, and the romance was lackluster, but book of the month, I guess. Sponsor me! Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli, 4.5 stars. I love a hunter ex-hunted plotline, and if you do too, and if you really liked Serpent and Dove, you should read this. The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden, 3 stars, pretty good. Again, I don't know, mysteries, yeah, it was good. There's not much to say. The Maddest Obsession by Danielle Laurie, 1 star, and sorry. Exactly. They're going after Danielle right now. Just kidding. I don't hate Danielle. These types of books are for some people, and I'm just not one of them anymore. I think I used to be. We're just getting too deep into this. Quicksilver by Callie Hart. This is super popular, and I'm super easily influenced, so 4 stars. There just wasn't that X factor, and I feel it really could have used some editing. Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage, 2.25 stars. I was super disappointed. Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, 4 stars. Another book to read if you're a chronic existentialist. Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood, 5 stars. This novella was so good, and Delicious. I think that everybody should read it during Christmas time, during summer, literally whenever. Just let your eyeballs touch this. The Mistletoe Mystery by Nita Prose, 1 star. This just felt like a horribly long epilogue, and I hate epilogues. One thing to know about me is I never read them, and there's a reason. You know, I just like don't care. Ever. I also haven't read anything else in this series, so I don't know why I even decided to read this. I just had to skip the line at my library, so yeah, maybe that's why I hated it so much. Phantasma, Kaylee Smith, I gave this 3 stars. There was just like something about the guy in this book that like rubbed me the wrong way. The Assassin's Blade, reread, 5 stars, same story. A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston, I gave this 2 stars, and it was just like too unreal for me. Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, 5 stars. This book, oh my gosh, this book just, it makes you think with a capital T. What did I say, guys? If you read a lot, you should read this. If you don't read a lot, you should read this. Everybody should read this. It's so, like, pensive. The Grace Year by Kim Liggett, 1 star. There's not enough space to talk about my qualms with this book. Hello. Sorry if things look a little different. My camera died, which is a sure sign that I'm talking too much, so let's, like, speed this up. This book quotes The Handmaid's Tale at the beginning, and if you've read this book, the comparison between the two I found to be bombastically outrageous. Cinder by Marissa Meyer, 4 stars. I just love the way Marissa Meyer writes romance. Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood. This is a Spotify original audiobook. Hated the 3rd act, but the secretly pining Ali Hazelwood plotline always gets a girl like me. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. 3 stars. There's nothing I hate quite so much as books that bring up COVID. And this, just right at the end, it just like snuck it in. Oh, and it just like lost points for me. I'm sorry. Never Lie by Frida McFadden. 4th mystery. What was I gonna say? I might make it to 5. I gave this 4 stars. I loved about this that I thought that I knew what was gonna happen and was just so wrong. The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. Oscar, I just love him. This was so short. I gave it 4 stars, and it's so funny, and it's, like a satirical critique of the upper class in the 19th century that I think is just like so fun, and I don't know why they didn't have us read stuff like this in school, because I would have appreciated that so much more than like other stuff. Okay, so that should be 97 books. Hello, jumping in from the future here. It is officially 2025, January 2nd, and I forgot 2 books and actually made it to 100 books in 2024. So this is those 5 books. First book I forgot, The X-Files by Jessica Joyce. I gave it 2 stars, and I didn't like it as much as the first Jessica Joyce book that I read last year. The next book I forgot, Take a Hint, Dani Brown, which I read for my book club, and I gave it 4 stars. The guy in this is so delicious. He's just like unreal. Like they just don't make them like that in real life, and that's unfortunate. Okay, next book I read was Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto, which is basically just Raylo fanfiction repackaged, which personally always gonna hit. The problem with this and why I lost a star is because it's about a violinist, and I'm a violin teacher. You can literally see my violin. And so I was just like nitpicking things the whole time, and there was a few just like outrageous takes there. I don't know if Julie Soto plays the violin, but it was pretty well done. I just like, it was just getting to me, so that's why it's 4 stars and not 5. The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. I didn't really like this, and I think that I feel the same about Ernest Hemingway as Katy Perry does, which if you know, you know. Last book that I read, which is Crazy to Go Out with a Bang. Hooked by Emily McIntyre. I gave it 1 star. Simply nar. So that was 2024 completed. So I made it to 100 books. How exciting. And it's January 2nd, and I've already had a 5-star read this year. So next year's video should be crazy. Will I make it to 100 books again? Probably not. So, but yeah, I hope that you guys had a good reading year too. Again, these are just like my opinions. So if I hated something that you loved, I don't hate you. I feel like I always have to say that because sometimes the people in my comments are just like so mad. Ooh. So yeah, just take everything with a grain of salt. I love you all, and thank you so much for a great year. I feel so silly saying this, but I've been reading a lot for a really long time, and ever since I started reading a lot, I've wanted to do like book stuff on YouTube, and I never did because I was too scared. Why am I gonna cry? Ew. And I feel like this year I really just decided that I was gonna put myself out there. I'm so grateful that I did because this has been like such a positive experience, and it makes me so just genuinely joyful. Making these videos, editing these videos, posting them, and getting to like talk to you guys in the comments. It's just what I've wanted to do for forever, and genuinely, if you subscribed or if you've commented and said something positive, just know that I think about every single one of you. Okay, this video is just like already way too long, so I'm just like gonna leave. Comment your favorite books. I'm serious, I love talking. Obviously, that's why I've been here sitting on my couch for so long. Happy New Year, angels. Mwah.